Hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn endocrinology. Today, endocrine and exocrine glands. And after we've done it, we call it wrist training. And if you participate in wrist training, that is at your own risk. Now we're having an article on what is called, or text which is called glandular epithelium, and in this endocrine and exocrine glands I explained. We read the text already in histology, but now we're here just for endocrinology, just to have this distinction. What is exocrine and endocrine? Written short form. Endocrine releasing the hormones into the body, exocrine releasing sweat, salvia, or into the outside. Glandular epithelium. The function of glandular epithelium is secretion, which is accomplished by glandular cells that often lie in clusters, deep to the covering and lining epithelium. A gland may consist of one cell or a group of highly specialized epithelial cells that secrete substances into ducts, onto a surface, or into the blood. The production of such substances always requires active work by the cells and results in an expenditure of energy. Why do I say that so? That seems so important. It is accessible. Why do I say that like that? It requires active work, so maybe we should actually keep it in mind. It requires active work. Maybe it makes a difference when clinical things. All glands of the body are classified as either endocrine or exocrine. Okay, all glands are endocrine or exocrine. The secretion of endocrine glands enter the extracellular fluid and then diffuse directly into the blood. And then diffuse directly into the bloodstream without flowing through duct. The extracellular fluid. And then diffuse directly into the bloodstream without flowing through duct. Okay, endocrine glands don't have a duct. I don't really get it, but the duct seems to be a thing through which it passes through and then comes out. These secretions, called hormones, regulate many metabolic and physiological activities to maintain homeostasis. Okay, endocrine glands, they don't have a duct, they are releasing directly into the bloodstream, and the secretions enter the extracellular fluid and then diffuse directly into the bloodstream. They don't have a duct, they release directly into the bloodstream. I think we can shorten it down. Enter the extracellular fluid. They don't have a duct, they're releasing hormones directly into the bloodstream, and these hormones then regulating the metabolic thing and the physiological activities. How the whole body works, that the human body keeps static with the homeostasis, with all the temperature, water content, and sugar content, and all the other things keep as they should be. Say it. The pituitary, thyroid, and adrenal glands are examples of endocrine glands. Endocrine glands will be described in detail in chapter 18. Exocrine glands secrete the products into ducts. So into ducts, these are tubes that empty at the surface of covering and lining epithelium. Now, was any point explain what an epithelium is? I think it is somewhere at the skin, but it would be nice to know. Okay, we can find it out. It's empty and ducts that empty at the surface of covering and lining epithelium or directly onto a free surface. The product of an exocrine gland may be released at the skin surface or into the lumen cavity of a hollow organ. Also into a hollow organ. The secretions of exocrine glands include mucus, that is in the lungs, I think. Sweat, oil, wax, and digestive enzymes. Okay, this is in the stomach. Okay, it doesn't have to be at the skin. Not at the skin, that's what I'm saying. Examples of exocrine glands are sweat glands, which produce perspiration to help lower body temperature, and salivary glands, which secrete mucus and digestive enzymes. So mucus is not needed. medicine. Okay, exocrine glands, they have a duct, and through its duct they are delivering their secretory product to where it should be, which can be, for example, just by sweat glands, sweat glands, yes, sweat glands when you use them, but sweat glands just to the outside of the skin, or also by do I use it? Or also by the salivary glands, which get mucus and digestive enzymes. I would like to mention one of the insights of the salivary glands beside in the mouth. Okay, endocrine. The endocrine glands don't have a duct, and they are releasing hormones directly into the bloodstream. I think we can say it like that. But we can't give a detail that's not enough explained. And these hormones then regulate the metabolic and physiological activities. Endocrine glands don't have a duct, releasing hormones directly into the bloodstream, and where these hormones regulating the metabolic state, the metabolism and the physiological activities. And the exocrine glands, they are releasing through a duct their secrete product, their secretions. Their secretory product, secretions, secretory product, or secrete through a duct, which is like a pipeline. We call it pipeline. Through a duct to the outside, which can be by sweat glands, by the endocrine sweat glands, exocrine sweat glands, by exocrine sweat glands with a sweat to the outside of skin, or also by the exocrine salivary glands with a salvia and that would be according, what are we even doing here? Wristtraining. That is according to Gerard Tortora and Sandra Grabowski's Principles of Anatomy and Physiology book, page 160. Are we able to make a presentation? Or we just tried 2-3 times and we are not able in 2-3 minutes when we're going to do it. I'm going to start the second camera which I have next to it. Let's try to say it. I want to say it short at the beginning. Endocrine glands releasing hormones No, I don't think I have any bags. Hormones directly into the bloodstream. Exocrine glands are releasing the secretory product more to be outside. Exocrine glands are releasing the secretory product through ducts to the surface, let's say it correctly, to the surface of covering and leaning epithelium. Of covering and leaning. What does leaning even mean? Of a surrounding? I don't really understand the word leaning. No, no one uses it, except when it's used in this context. It's not to get in the context. To the outside, just surrounding. Through ducts to the outside, which surrounds them. I'm going to say it just a bit. Endocrine and exocrine glands. Endocrine and exocrine glands. Endocrine glands are releasing hormones directly in the bloodstream to regulate the. Now I have a little problem. If I say about that good, why not just what do you even want to say more? I don't want to say more. Endocrine glands and exocrine glands. Endocrine glands don't have a duct. They're releasing their hormones directly into the bloodstream. They're doing the metabolism correctly and the physiological activities. So they're regulating the homeostasis, the temperature of the human body, water content, and sugar content in the blood, and so on. Exocrine glands. Exocrine glands they're releasing to the outside through a duct, releasing their secretory product, which can be at the skin, the sweat glands, just as the sweat to the outside, or also in the mouth, the salivary glands, the salivary to the outside. Endocrine glands don't have a duct, releasing hormones into the bloodstream and doing their metabolism and regulating the metabolism and the physiological activities. And exocrine glands just releasing through a duct the secretory product, like sweat glands, sweat to the outside, or also in the stomach or in the mouth, the salivary glands, etc. That's according to Tora and Sandra Grabowski's Principles of Anatomy and Physiological book on the page 160. I think it was okay. Now I'm going to go and stop the second camera. And that was the endocrinology part. If you were here for endocrinology, you can go directly to the next part of endocrinology. We will do now the wrist training in 30 minutes. If you stay and participate in the wrist training, then it's better at your own risk. We're starting with spotlight. Fists, and we bring them down and up. We have 3 rules. I forgot a couple of times to say. No, I did not. We have 3 rules. The first rule is that we stop immediately as soon as there's pain. The second rule is that we go only as far as we can go with a little bit of effort. And the third rule is that we're not overdoing it. Just want to strengthen, not to exhaust. And now, again, fists, and then to the inside and to the outside. Flashlight. And next exercise, the magician, flat hands, and to the inside and outside. And last time. And now the pancake flipper, flat hands, and open, close up. And now the T-Rex in the morning, flat hands out and bend them down. And up. Again down. And now the quadrangular castle architect, fists out and bring them to the inside. Up. To the outside. Down. Inside. And now we hold them backwards. Down. Outside. And now another exercise. Arms up and bring the fists down into flexion. And then move your arms down. Go to still standstill. And then again up. Now turn the other way around. Stay in flexion. Again down. And again. Turn it around again. Down. And then it's down. And we're changing again. Last time. Down. And now we're crept anxious to a fever. Moving your arm next to us. Hand form to a fist. Bring the fist down to flexion and press a bit against it. Now pull it on the outside. Press from the top. And on the ground. Now on the other hand, hand flat. Bring it down in the flexion. Press a bit against it. Pull a bit from the outside. On the top. And on one. And this was the last exercise. Let's do this some fingers directly. Fists and out and cross it. Yeah. And now we're going with moderate pressure over the middle part of the lower arm to relax a bit more. And on the other side. And that was the wrist training. So, I thank you very much, and until next time.